Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We warmly welcome you to the Dre Broadcasting Network tonight as we outbreak each other and hit the apexes with the Roaring Thunder. We are coming to you live from Barber Motorsports Park, bringing you the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix. That's the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix and Round 3 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series. I'm your commentator, Sean Zulu. I am joined by my good friend and producer Dave Everly. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, Sean. Ready to see some IndyCar here at Barber Motor Speedway.
Absolutely. These Indy cars, very, very fast machines, open wheel cars, running all the way from 1 minute, 10-second lap times, all the way up to about 1 minute, 32-second lap times, just depending on the tire wear. And this track does seem very, very tricky. It has 16 turns in total. That is 16 turns. It is 2.38 miles in length. That's going to be 2.38 miles in length. So these drivers will have their hands filled tonight, and they are accompanied by 75% fuel limit. That is 75%, which gives us at least 2 to 3 required pit stops in order for the drivers to be able to make it the full length of the race. 45 laps. And here at the track we have a 107 degree Fahrenheit track temperature. That is 107 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, followed by a 78 degree Fahrenheit air temperature. And it is partly cloudy out there with winds from the north at 2 miles per hour, 2 mph. Well, looking here in the race, Keaton Bomber's back. Here is the post sitter tonight. He the fastest practice time as well. Actually, before we talk about that, let's take a recap from last week's race. The Auto Club 250. We had Robert Barras bring it home for his second win of the season. Jeff Dodson came out second. Charles Smith came out third. Jeremy Horn fourth. Mark McFadden fifth. Stephen Leffler sixth. Paul Cohen seventh. Art Peck eighth. Mark Kochik ninth. Ronald Vincent 10th. Jim Whaley Jr. 11th. Rick Mason 12th. And Noah Lewis did round up the top all the 13 drivers. Well, moving on to our current point standings, the point standings that is, Robert Barras is leading in points with Jeremy Horn right behind him in second place. We have Charles Smith third, Mark McFadden fourth, Mark Kochik fifth, Jim Whaley Jr. sixth. We have Ronald Vincent seventh, Jeff Dodson, Rick Mason, these two drivers tied for 8th. Once again, Jeff Dodson, Rick Mason tied for 8th place in points. Keaton Bomber's back 9th. Stephen Leffler 10th. Paul Cohen 11th. Art Peck 12th. And Noah Lewis in the 13th place spot in the points standings. Well, we have only a few minutes here before qualifying is officially over, but once again on the pole is the 88 of Keaton Bomber's back, who set the fastest lap time as well. The first race we had at Sebring International. So he is a very, very fast driver here on the road course, and he has seemed to have proven that in last race, or the first race we had at Sebring, and tonight's race at Barber Motorsports Park. And he had some bad luck there early on at Sebring, but he was still able to finish on the podium. Well, so far Jeremy Horn is being shown second on the pole so far, and a total of 9 drivers here racing tonight. So 9 drivers starting tonight's race, 45 laps of racing with a 75% fuel limit. And something tells me that fuel strategy, and I don't really want to say they will be saving any tires, because saving tires at a track like this at a road course, to just talk about that is nearly impossible to do. And so far the main goal of the drivers on a road course is to stay consistent, stay off on the track and off the grass, because going off the track could make things go from good to bad in a hurry, because these things do get very, very loose on the road course when they go off the track. Well, Dave, do you have any experience at this track, Barber Motorsports Park? Oh, most definitely, and I personally do not have any experience at this track either. But we have actually called a race here before, a very, very long time ago there, with the Rake Motec guys. It was an amazing time. So look forward to having an amazing race right here with the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series, brought to you by Roaring Thunder. It looks like the red flag has now flown, and that now officially ends the qualifying session. And we are now about to advance into the grading session. Stay tuned. And if you are there in the chat, ladies and gentlemen, let us know who you're rooting for tonight. Once again, if you are there in the chat, be sure to type up, say something, say hello, and we will be more than happy to give you a shout out. And we'll try and get to you as soon as we can. And once again, thank you for tuning in to the Dre Broadcasting Network. For all those returning and existing viewers, welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network. And for all the new viewers, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. We are glad to have you all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, looks like we have advanced into the race session, race mode now, and the drivers are now gridding up, so we will go down this list in a few seconds. Well, once again, our post-hitter tonight is the 88 of Keaton Bommersbach, the post-hitter of the Sebring International. We have 14, Jeremy Horn, defending champion, last season's champion in the K&N Series. Second, Jim Whaley Jr. Third, Robert Barris, current points leader, who's won the first 2 races, has 2 wins under his belt already. Trying to go for a 3rd win right here at Barber Motorsports Park. Starting 4th, we have Charles Smith. 5th, Mark Kochik. 6th, we have Kyle Nadu. 7th, the last driver qualifying tonight is 72 of Steven Leffler, with Paul Cohen in the 9th place position. And once again, Steven Leffler 8th and Paul Cohen 9th. And that gives us a 9-car field here tonight at Barber Motorsports Park. And the drivers are now rolling, being led by post-hitter Keaton Bommersbach, who starts on the left side, while Jeremy Horn on the right side. Pace speed 60 miles an hour. Yep, consistency is very, very key. Once again, consistency is very, very key. These drivers' task is to once again keep these machines on the track, because the track seems a little bit narrow, and it's very, very easy to lose your way or lose control of your machine, and that could go from good to bad in a hurry. Yeah, good to bad in a hurry, and these guys definitely do not want that, especially since you talked about that, Dave. No full course cautions. So if you go a lap down, it is going to be tough luck, and it will be difficult to get your lap back, if you're even able to get your lap back before the race ends. But once again, we are going green for the first time this time by the drivers, getting bunched up nice and strong. The pace is going to be ducking off. Yes, pace car dips off the racing surface, and now Keaton does control the pace here, exiting the last turn, turn 16 on that front stretch.
Green, green, green.
The green flag flies and Keaton does catch everybody off guard. Well, not quite. 14 Horn does see it coming. Oh, they make contact entering turn 1 and Jeremy goes off the track. No harm done. We are still racing strong side by side. Keaton Horn and right behind. Oh, looks like Bomber's back was batted down to let Jeremy Horn get by him. And Jeremy Horn will take over the race lead this time by. Oh yeah, but Steven Leffler, fortunately enough, was able to get that machine back straight. And as we speak, he is back on the racing surface, trying to make up for lost time, trying to make up for that misfortune there under braking. He's approaching these S's, very, very tricky turns. But here up front, we have the 88 of Keaton Bomber's back, trying to take what goes rightfully his. Oh, he tops the grass. He almost spins out. He's able to somehow maintain that car or keep it under control, but the gap in between him and the 14 of Horn will increase, and now Jeremy Horn officially takes the race lead this time by. And Dave, already some trouble on the track. We have Charles Smith on pit road this time by. That machine is damaged on the front. It has lost the front wing. And he will be on pit road. But not to worry, ladies and gentlemen. They do have one backup car, one backup Indy car. He gets that brand new one. And yeah, before too long, he will be off pit road. Yep, and Robert Barras right now here behind the 46 of Jim. Oh, trouble on the track up front. That was between Keaton Bomber's back and Jeremy Horn. Actually, Jeremy Horn went sideways. Looks like he had a bad exit off the turn. Yeah, and because he had a front-end collision with that machine, it has lost its turning ability, so it has to turn at nearly nothing, less than 30 miles an hour in order for the machine to rotate. And as we speak, he is still trying to crawl down to pit road to get his only backup car. And the bad thing about this is that he's lost a lot of time. He will be most likely going a lap down before too long, and that is good for everybody else except him. So he does have some work to do once he gets that brand new machine. We have a new race leader, Jim Whaley Jr., Robert Barras now being shown second, Mark Kochik third. We have Kyle Nadeau fourth, and Keaton Bomber's back in the 5th place spot. Yeah, I find that very, very interesting because last time I checked, he wasn't involved in that. He was able to slam on his brakes in time to avoid getting into it. But maybe something other than that is going on with that machine that we might know about. But as we speak, he is off pit road. He is back on the racing surface. Ooh. Absolutely, he will try and use that one lap, this one lap specifically, to get some heat into those tires in order for him to avoid that mighty unwanted looseness, because that would does cost a lot of drivers. And as we speak, we have Jeremy Horn off the pit road. He is on the track as we speak, and he is trying to make up for lost time, and he is behind the 13 of Charles Smith. And Charles Smith as well had some bad luck early on. He had an unscheduled pit stop, but he is back on the track as we speak and is the next victim for the 14 of Jeremy Horn. And going a little bit up front, we have the 72 of Steven Leffler being approached by the 88 of Keaton Bummersbach. Actually, that is not up to date. Oh, no, it is up to date. As we speak, we have Keaton Bummersbach being shown about 4 to 5 seconds behind Steven Leffler as we speak. Oh man, yeah, Jim Wiley Jr. definitely shining here tonight, and Robert Barris just might have to work for it here as he tries to gain some spots here before too long. But keeping in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we do have 3 required pit stops, so these drivers are most likely already thinking about when they'll be pitting in. When is it best to go down pit road? And Dave, unlike an oval track, these drivers won't depend on the draft, so basically they can go in any time. And looking in the chat there, we do have Gone Fishing TV, including Swamp Rat. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, Gone Fishing TV and Swamp Rat. Welcome back. But right there, he completes a lap right here at Barber Motorsports Park. Very, very great speed. Entering turn number 1. He sets himself up for the very, very long right-hander. There on turn number 4. We have some drivers on pit road, Paul Cohen on pit road, including Steven Leffler pitting in this time. Well, Paul Cohen has been on pit road for a very long time now. Unfortunately, looks like something might be going on with that machine, and we have lost one driver, Steven Leffler, here on lap 8. And ladies and gentlemen, last season the Roaring Thunder Racing League was racing the K&N series on Saturday nights, but now they have transitioned or moved on. Well, not transitioned, because they do switch in between. They've done Indy cars before as well, before the K&N cars. So they've gone to Indy cars only this season. They'll be alternating between, they'll be going both through oval courses, well, ovals and road courses. So next week we'll be going to Phoenix International after coming from Auto Club last week, and Sebring the week before that. Barber Motorsports this week, and next week once again Phoenix International. And ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are interested in joining the Roaring Thunder Racing League, they are looking for some drivers, Anybody is welcome. Everybody is welcome here. So please check them out at American Wix site. Well, let me get the American trucker8.wixsite.com/RTRL, or go to Roaring Thunder Racing League. Check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing in order to for you guys to join this series. And also, they have a Tuesday night series as well. It's a Tuesday night series. They do run the Pro Mazda series, which is an open wheel as well. So open wheel on Tuesdays and Saturdays for this season. So once again, Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing and American trucker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. And tonight is the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix. That's the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix, round 3 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series. Well, here on the track, we still have, let's see, we're only showing 5 drivers on the lead lap. We have Jeremy Horn 1 lap down still, and Steven Leffler has retired. Oh no, Steven Leffler is back. Good to see Steven Leffler back here, and we'll be on the racetrack before too long. And Paul Cohen still on pit road, and the machine looks clean, but his pit crew might be hard at work trying to fix something, some internal damage. And I did talk about how we have 3 required pit stops here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So if that's the case, the drivers should be pitting in all the way from lap 10 through lap number 15, and this is now lap number 10. The leaders are 10 laps in. So here in the next 5 laps, we should expect to see some green flag pit stops kicking in. Well, some drivers leaving pit road. Jeremy Horn. Actually, we have a driver who just smacked the wall. That's the 72 of Steven Leffler. Leffler got loose exiting pit road, and is now towing back to the pits. Oh man, yeah, those cold tires, man. It looks like he ended up hammering that thing. He put the gas so far down the floor that it did end up upsetting the wheels. But that's very, very unfortunate for Steven Leffler. And hopefully he still has his backup car here tonight, so he can be able to still be competitive before the race is over. He is already being shown 3 laps down, but at this point it's all about consistency. Once again, consistency throughout the whole entire season. In order for you to have a very good finish towards the very end, because once again, the longer you stay, the more laps you put down, the more points you're likely to get here in the point standings, and those do go a very, very long way. And let's see, pit stops have not yet started kicking in, but up front, Jim Whaley Jr. still, Jim Whaley Dave has now increased his lead from 1.5 seconds about 6 laps ago to now 3.2 seconds of the lead against second place driver Robert Barris. Yes, we are. And looking in the chat, we have Drummer Boy 12. Drummer Boy 12, welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network, and we hope you're doing well. And for the back in this pack, the 97 of Kyle Nadeau in the 4th place spot is about 12 to 14 seconds behind his next victim, the 33 of Mark Kochik. And Mark Kochik here approaching some S-turns as we speak, and is trying, he gets loose, Kyle Nadeau, the Laws machine into the wall, and he is off track as we speak. Oh, Dave, let's please back it up on the 97 of Kyle Nadeau and see what happened. Oh yeah, and looking at it from further investigation, looks like they're on the little hump that you're talking about there, Dave. The front wheels seem to leave the ground for a few seconds, but unfortunately Kyle Nadius hit the gas while the tires were still airborne, and once they landed, they were carrying way too much speed compared to the rear tires, and that just caused an unbalance in the forces on that Lowe's machine of his, and he went straight into the wall and lost the front wing, and unfortunately he has now retired for the evening. Oh man, that's very, very unfortunate. But going back here to the race, we have the 33 of Mark Kochik in the third place spot, being shown about, it's going to be 11 seconds behind the 75 of Robert Barris for second place. And as we speak, these drivers still not pitting in just yet. And Jim Whaley Jr. and the drivers on the lead lap, oh now 14 laps in, 14 laps on their tires and their tanks.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we continue tonight's journey with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. This is the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix. That's the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix, Round 3 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series, brought to you by Roaring Thunder. And for all those interested in joining the Roaring Thunder, they are recruiting drivers. If you'd like to be a part of this action, they do run IndyCars this season, all season long. They run on road courses and oval courses. They mix it up week after week. So check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing, or go to the website americantrucker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. Or just go to go to iRacing once again, Roaring Thunder Racing League. And this is the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series. And on Tuesdays, they do have a series that runs, it's the Pro Mazda series. So if you guys like to run the Pro Mazdas, they're open wheel as well, you can do that as well. That's Roaring Thunder Racing League. Well, for all those new viewers in the chat, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. We do hope that you guys enjoy the show here tonight at Barber Motorsports Park. That is Barber Motorsports Park. And before commercial, I talked about how this was going to be a 3 pit stop race. Well, looks like I was wrong. They proved me wrong. So it's going to be a 1-2 pit stop race, as we saw the earliest driver pit in with only 16 laps on their tires. That was 1 lap after I talked about it. That was the previous leader. That was actually Jim Whaley. Yeah, Jim Whaley was the first driver to go down pit road for a scheduled pit stop. And not too long after that, Robert Barris did go down right behind him, only a lap after he did. But as we speak here, we are still showing Robert Barris the leader, because he stayed out a lap longer than Jim Whaley and took over the race lead. Mark Kochek second, Jim Whaley Jr. third, Keaton Bummersbach fourth, 13 of Charles Smith fifth, Jeremy Horn sixth. We have Stephen Leffler in the 7th place spot, Kyle Nadeau 8th, and Paul Cohen in the 9th place spot. But we have lost Kyle Nadeau tonight early on, had some bad luck there on the exit of the tunnel, turn number 14, and had to call it a night. And Paul Cohen as well is having some difficulties. He is still on pit road as we speak, and that pit crew is hard at work trying to work on that machine, because it does seem to have some internal malfunctions going on by the looks of it. Well, since Jim Whaley did stay out, was first driver to go down pit road, and Barris took over the race lead right after he went down pit road. Looks like Whaley was able to take back the race lead, and now Barris only being shown 1.7 seconds behind Whaley Jr., who sets himself up for the S, almost cuts the course, but is able to keep that machine under control. And last time we checked on the gap between Barris and Whaley Jr. before they went down pit road, it was 3.2 seconds, but now it's been narrowed down to 1.7 seconds. So Dave Barris did something right. Only 25 laps, and yes, that fuel, the pit strategy, very, very important. Like you talked about, some drivers have already pitted in, but some have not yet pitted in. And speaking of Keaton Bummersbach going down pit road this time by with 17 laps on his tires. And Keaton did have to go down pit road early on. I believe that was lap number 2 or 3, right after the 14 of Jeremy Horn had some bad luck where he spun out. It looks like Keaton actually got a little bit of a piece of him before he could slam on the brakes in time to avoid maximizing the damage. But yeah, Keaton on pit road this time by, and now 2 drivers still need to pit in, namely Charles Smith and Jeremy Horn. Charles Smith having 20 laps on his tires this far, and Jeremy Horn 18 laps. Yeah, fingers crossed. We're gonna find that out here shortly. And Dave looks like Jeremy Horn sees the bigger picture, sees a bigger picture than we do. He has a drive for position in front of him. That's the 13 of Charles Smith, only 3 seconds in front of him. And at this point, he can see him every now and then in the turns. Because once again, these turns, some are very, very blind, and you can get a glimpse of your opponent every now and then, depending on how quick you're going. But as we speak, yep, Horn staying out one more lap. This time by, it looks like Charles Smith did go down pit road. Yeah, but going back up front, so far the lead of Whaley Jr. has only been narrowed down by a 1/10 of a second by Barris. So it looks like Whaley Jr. is able so far to keep the gap between them very, very consistent. At this point, that is the conclusion, is that these two drivers, Barris and Whaley Jr., are they're equal basically. They have equal pace, and that is going to be a stalemate in this case. But once those tires start to go away, Dave, things will change. Speaking of approaching and getting past the halfway point, yeah, we have approached it, and Horn is now going down pit road this time by for his pit stop after having the most laps on his tires, 23, I believe, 22, yeah, 22. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that Jeremy Horn had some bad luck early on. He had to have an unscheduled pit stop, only 2 laps in. Yeah, 2 laps in, and that did end up putting him a lap down. But once everybody else pitted in for their first round of pit stops, the leaders that is, he was able to get his lap back the hard way. But then while he was on pit road, the leaders ended up overtaking him and putting him back 1 lap down. So at this point, Horn is very, very determined to get the job done, trying to get his lap back the hard way. As bad, or I should say as difficult as that might be, he is determined, and that is very, very good to see. And in the chat, welcome back, Swamp Rat, and we have Broderick S. Broderick S, welcome back, and welcome to the Great Broadcasting Network. And the third place driver, Mark Kochik, so far just having a Sunday drive. Very, very consistent lap times here. As we can speak, scanning his lap times, he's been running consistent 1 minute 12 second lap times here this far in tonight's race. He's getting quicker by the laps, because last lap the last 3-4 laps he ran all the way from 113 to 116. But now he is down to the 112s, and once again his lap times getting nothing but quicker by the lap. And with those lap times getting quicker, that means that he is gaining some time. He is making up a lot of time to those leaders. Actually, speaking of that, let's compare his lap times to the leaders. Actually having the exact same pace by the looks of it. They're all running in the 112s. So that makes the gap very consistent amongst the 3 drivers, Jim Whaley Jr., Robert Barris, and Mark Kochik included in that. And the 4th place driver, Keaton Bomber's back. Keaton Bomber's back, 111 lap times. He is hot lapping. He actually just ran a faster lap time than his practice time, than his post-sitting time. So that does tell you a lot. He is determined to catch up to those leaders and take back what was rightfully his, that race lead. Absolutely, yeah, that could be quite discouraging, but that is not discouraging him in this case. As we speak up front, Barris and Whaley Jr. Whaley was able to, he's been increasing the gap lap after lap, and the only thing that's actually making that happen is him being able to have faster lap times, only like a 10th quicker than Barris, but that does end up adding up over time, and as a result, oh, actually scratched that. It just went down from 1.3 from 1.9 to 1.36 tenths less than last time we checked. So Robert Barris is starting to hot lap and is catching Whaley Jr. And yes, Whaley before was increasing that gap slowly, lap after lap. Looks like Barris has now responded for the good, for the better. Well, in this case, he has responded for the good of himself, but the bad of Whaley Jr. And here for the back in this pack, because the 46 of Whaley sees that Barris is now behind him, very close behind him. The gap between the two drivers, Barris and Whaley Jr., is now increasing against the 33 of Mark Kochik. That nose cam definitely does show you guys what it's like exactly when you take a good when you have a good exit to the turns, because here at the road courses the exits are very important, including the entrances, because without a good entrance you will have a bad exit, or as you say, you will not have a good exit, and that good exit is a good way to make up some time against your opponents. So with that said, these drivers know that slow in, fast out, too fast in, you might not make it out. Basically what that means, if you go too fast into the turn, you will not be able to hit that apex. And without the sweet apex, the exit is ruined.
Yeah, I mean, I ran a few road races. I'm really good at Lime Rock though, Sean. Well, I was. Haven't really been racing a lot lately. Actually, I haven't really been racing at all. Just kind of focusing, watching all these guys out here putting on good shows. But, I mean, I've learned that sometimes you got to come slow into the turn to be fast out of the turn.
Absolutely right, Dave. And speaking of Lime Rock, my favorite part is, well, actually, this is the worst part for me about Lime Rock, is when you're coming up that hill. A lot of drivers seem to lose it because your car goes airborne all the time, or most of the time, depending on how much speed you're carrying. And that I've lost a lot of races because of that little mountain or hill looking thing. But definitely it's a very great track. And that's actually where I won my first race, interestingly, in the Mazda Cup.
Yeah, you know, I've last time I ran the MX-5 there, it's like you said, that you got that uphill, like the uphill here that we saw Kyle Nadeau lose it on and pretty much retire from the night from. They got to turn hill just like that at Lime Rock. And I've always learned, especially with the MX-5 cars, the global MX-5s, is coming up over that turn, you just got to feather the throttle. You can't be on at full throttle, because when that car lifts, that just gives your tires more chance to spin, and next thing you know, you're into the wall.
Absolutely. Yep, you have to be very careful. And yeah, just those unique things about these tracks make them great tracks, because it makes the drivers pay more attention and pretty much leaves it up to it puts everything in the driver's hands, and that is amazing to see. And these drivers definitely have a lot of fun doing that. And speaking of that, Dave Barris is now slowly losing time against Jim Whaley Jr. He is being shown 2.1 seconds behind Whaley. And the leaders up front, well, the leader up front, Jim Whaley, now has 14 laps on his tires. two drivers behind him, Robert Barris and Mark Kochik, having 12 laps on their tires this far. We have 16 laps remaining, and these guys most likely will go down pit road one more time for a splash and go. And at this point with Dave, the way the machines have been handling, something tells me that the tire wear is not that bad. So just maybe enough taking gas is all they need.
Well, taking a look, we got 15 laps to go, so I have a feeling we're going to see maybe some short pit strategies. Because if it came in now, they'd be able to make it, give them some chance to make up some times on those leaders. But I don't know. I mean, right now, those front two leaders got a huge gap over third place. And an even bigger gap there over fourth, as we've only got four of these Indy cars left on the lead lap.
Absolutely, yeah. Charles Smith and Jeremy Horn, these guys are just hoping for the worst in the leaders. Oh man, Charles Smith ends up messing up his entry to the S's, and that was almost ugly, but was able to back it down in time to avoid causing trouble to himself. And he is still rolling as we speak, nice and strong. He is racing for position against the 14 of Jeremy Horn for 5th place, but they are quite a ways apart. So here before too long, we have Jim Whaley going down pit road this time by for his final pit stop of the evening. It's only a matter of time before everybody else follows. Oh, that was the 14 of Jeremy Horn. Ooh, Dave, that's very, very interesting. And if that's the case, yeah, actually, yeah, looks like Jeremy Horn might be able to make it without hitting in any longer. And if that's the case, Dave, I mean, he's been fast. He's had a great pace ever since the green flag had flown there on lap number 1. Something tells me, Dave, if that happens, he might end up getting back his lap back and maybe getting some spots from it. Yes, man, he missed the apex, he missed the entrance, at a bad entrance to the turn, bad entry, carrying way too much speed. He hit the grass before hitting the second S. And after that, he just set his machine off the track, but fortunately not for him, his machine went airborne in the grass and corrected itself or spun itself away from the wall. That could have been ugly, and because of that, he lost some time, and Barris takes over the race lead. And yeah, as we speak, Jim Whaley just might have a lot more work to do than before, because before he went down pit road, Robert Barris was not too far behind him. So it's going to make things extra interesting. And Keaton Bummer's back here, being shown still in the 4th place. Mark Kochik did already go down pit road, and Keaton Bummer's back will be having to go down pit road one more time, because if not, he's going to be about 2 to 3 laps short. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dre Broadcasting Network as we continue tonight's race, the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix. That's the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix, Round 3 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series. For all those drivers, for all those viewers in the chat who are interested in being one of the drivers here with the Roaring Thunder Racing League, they do run on Tuesday nights and Saturday nights as well. They have a Pro Mazda Series on Tuesdays and a IndyCar Series on Saturday nights. So check them out. Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. That's Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing, and AmericanTrucker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. So that's just go. It's easier for you to go to the to iRacing and check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League, and you can message the admins and they will get back in touch with you. Well, going back here to the race, we are still racing under green. Well, no cautions as expected, and Keaton Bomber's back here, 37 laps in, being shown third. We have Robert Barris leading. Oh, Jim Whaley Jr. just went on pit road, is being shown 1 lap down. Yeah, Jim Whaley is getting towed down to pit road. Not sure what happened to Jim Whaley. We unfortunately were not able to catch that. Yeah, that machine is missing the front wing. And Dave, I was fortunate enough to catch the replay of Whaley Jr. What happened there was he was carrying way too much speed, entering the right-hander. That was turns number 2 and 3, and he got into the grass, into the sand, which sent him back on the track into the wall, and that ended up giving him enough damage to pretty much disable that machine. And as a result, he has now retired for the evening. But once again, we look forward to seeing this driver back next week at Phoenix International. Well, going back up front here, Robert Barris has a 32-second lead over second-place driver Mark Kochik, who in turn is leading 6 seconds, or I should say is 6 seconds ahead of third-place driver Keaton Bomber's back. So, Dave, it is safe to say Robert Barris is having a Sunday drive.
Yeah, he's got a Sunday drive, but he's just got to watch, though. Can't really lay back too much. Well, he's not really. I mean, he's still pushing pretty good here, running still good lap times, running about 1:12 lap times. So, yeah, only 6 laps to go. He can just kind of make sure he hits his points. Don't overdrive the car. Basically, it's to the point now it's his race to lose.
Absolutely, yep. And with 6 laps remaining, yeah, at this point, this is now when it's very crucial. At this point, from experience, I can tell you that when you're racing, the closing stages are the most difficult stages, because you've done all the hard work. Well, for the most part, in the case of Robert Barris, he has no competition in the back for quite a while. Once again, 33 seconds ahead of second-place driver Mark Kochik. So now his biggest thing is just staying consistent, staying alive, staying on the track, staying away from the grass, staying away from the sand, hitting those apexes, those sweet spots. Because once he makes a mistake, it's going to be very, very difficult to recover from it. Because once again, we are now in the closing stages, the later stages of tonight's race. And we have showing only 3 drivers on the lead lap: Robert Barris, Mark Kochik, and Keaton Bomber's back. And we have Jeremy Horn still in 4th place, and behind him is still a 13 of Charles Smith. Dave, as you said that, he exited turn 14, the tunnel. That's where Kyle Nadu lost it. The machine, he did the exact same thing that Kyle had done, but this time Keaton was able to catch it in time to avoid losing it and losing his 3rd place spot, but he is still tracking him down. And Keaton ended up missing his entrance to the S's. He did end up cutting the course a little bit, but slowed down in time to avoid getting penalized by the officials for cutting the course. He backed down, served that, and is now trying to get back on the same mission, hunt down second place driver Mark Kochik. Absolutely, yep. He sees the bigger picture. 4 laps remaining. He's done the hard part, and now he is in the closing stages trying to succeed. He is in the podium where he wants to finish, but he once again wants to get back where he was in the beginning. To begin with, he was the post sitter and had the fastest time in practice, 1 minute 10 seconds, 0.6, including qualifying, which was 1 minute 11 seconds. So not too far off his practice fastest lap, or hot lap. So once again, he is trying to get back where he rightfully was, but 30 seconds is a lot of time to make up. And knowing how Robert Barber has been racing last season in the Canyon cars compared to this season so far in the Indy cars, he's a very, very tough competitor. So with that said, Keaton Bummersbach, Mark Kochik have a lot of work to do. Yep, and 3 laps remaining on Robert Barber. He approaches turn 16, the final turn. Yes, he successfully exits the turn and now going towards the start-finish line. And that does give us the 2 to go mark. 2 laps remaining and going for the back in the pack. 3rd place spot, Dave Keaton Bummersbach has now caught the 33 of Mark Kochik. Only a matter of time before he starts making moves. Keaton definitely feeling the pressure, despite being behind his opponent. He is, he's making some mistakes. He's pushing that machine way too much, way too hard, and the machine is not wanting to respond. Oh yeah, he's doing more sideways action than straightward racing. Yeah, those tires are definitely gone at this point. He has a lot more laps on his tires, and he approaches the S's, goes sideways once again. Man, yeah, Mark Kochik here is still under pressure from Keaton Bummersbach. At the same time, Bummersbach is his worst enemy. Oh, he got to the grass. No harm done. Well, once again, Keaton Bummersbach is his own worst enemy. Yep, Dave, let's please ride with the 14 of Jeremy Horn as he tries to get his lap back the hard way. Yep, turn 15, last, oh, Mark Kutcher goes way wide, almost taps that grass, but he exits turn 16 safely, and will come out in second place. Keaton Bomber's back right behind him third, and that is the podium. And the 14, Jeremy Horn, comes out fourth, and Charles Smith fifth, Jim Whiteley Jr. sixth, Stephen Leffler seventh, Kyle Nadu eighth, and Poe Cohen in the ninth place position. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have a podium interview here. Robert Barris, third win right here. Third win on the third race, during the third race. Mark Kochik second, and Keaton Bombers back third, so stay tuned. As at the moment, we do ride with the 75 of Robert Barris for a victory lap. Well, Robert, you know what to do.
Yeah, we're gonna catch our breath here for a second before we do that. That was a heck of a workout. This track's, I don't know what it is. If this race seemed a lot longer than all the other ones so far, I'm wore out.
Oh man, I can only imagine. And take your time. Oh, great job, brother. Enjoying seeing your donuts, your burnouts week after week. Having your third win right here. Third win at the third race. Barber Motorsports Park. Very, very impressive. How you doing tonight?
Oh, like I said, I'm pretty wore out. This is, I don't know what it is about this track. I wasn't very familiar with it. But it was quite a workout. I think it's just, there's a lot of high-speed turns here, and with the dark drive wheel that I got, it takes a little bit of effort, and I'm not used to it. Usually driving the stock cars, they don't require so much effort as these Indy cars do with their bigger tires and more more aero, and I don't think these cars have power steering either. So it's workout, but we'll take it.
Oh, absolutely, man. And Robert, talk to us about the beginning of the race. Basically, what was your strategy going into tonight's race? You qualified in the 4th place spot, and you ended up, making up a lot of time, and before you knew it, you were leading.
Yeah, I wasn't very familiar with this track, so I was really surprised to be 4th. Top 4, I think we're all really close to each other in qualifying time, within a couple of tenths. I had a pretty good run in my last lap. I thought may have been enough for the pole. I lost it coming onto the straightaway, ran off the track just a little bit, and it invalidated that lap. So it was just a matter of surviving, making a clean race, no mistakes. I don't think I was the fastest. I probably was the 4th fastest about where I qualified, and so it was just going to be a matter of keep the car clean, keep it on the track, and then see how things play out. We saw some things happen in turn 1, and like turn 3 or 4 or whatever that is, coming up on the second straightaway, and that shuffled a couple cars out, and so that it was just a matter of riding. I'm not sure what happened to Jim. I think he was probably the car to beat. He led most of the race, and I followed him for most of it, and I don't know what happened. I got ahead of him on the last pit stop sequence, and we were pretty even. At least I could maintain times with him, so I was feeling pretty comfortable. And then I looked up, and he was off the track, and I'm in the pits. So I'm not really sure what happened there. Like I said, it was just a matter again of just keep the car clean, survive.
Oh, absolutely. You definitely did an amazing job at that. And Robert, we're only 3 races in this far, and man, you've dominated every race so far. Sebring, last week Auto Club, tonight Barber Motorsports, and next week Phoenix International. And we talked about how you had to transition from the K&N cars to the Indy cars, totally different machines. When it comes down to racing. And basically, how are you feeling this far in the season?
It's gone better than I could have imagined. Transitioning from the K&N car, Sunday nights run Xfinity cars right now. I don't have really much experience in the Indy cars except for the Indianapolis 500 that I try to run every year. I have road course experience in the stock cars, but not in the Indy cars. I'd not been to Sebring before, not been here before. So to come out of here, 3 for 3 is, beyond the wildest dreams I could have had. So I'm really pleased. I'll also say these cars are fun. These cars are a lot of fun to drive. You gotta really concentrate. You cannot let your guard down for 1 second. And I think that'll help. Going back to the stock cars, the stock cars can be a little bit forgiving, so hopefully that'll help translate, especially on the road course work that we got to get done.
Oh, most definitely. Well, we are glad that you are able to. You're transitioning quite well. You're adapting quite well, going from stock cars to totally different beasts. In this case, like you talked about it, unforgiving beasts. So once again, man, congratulations on your success this far this season, having your 3rd win at the 3rd race, Barber Motorsports Park. Well, Robert, any final words before we let you go?
No, I just want to thank Jeff for organizing the league and everybody who comes out and races, and then you for putting the broadcast on for people to watch, and hopefully that drives some interest and maybe people will be wanting to come out and join us.
Congrats once again, Robert, on your success yet again, and we look forward to see you having your 4th win next week at Phoenix International. Go celebrate, buddy, and have a good night.
All right, thank you.
And that was the first place driver, 3rd win for him, Robert Barris. But next in line is a 33 of Mark Kochik. Get up there, Mark.
Yeah, I got you.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Really surprised to be talking to you guys. It's my first time on the podium with these cars, and I really didn't expect it at all. These cars are hard to drive, and I'm not really good, especially at the ovals, the aero push. I can't seem to get a handle on how to pass anybody. So the road courses, I practice a little bit more on these, and I'm a little better, but if you looked at the practice and qualifying times, there were obviously in this league, there were a group of haves and a group of have-nots. Haves were down in the 10s, 11s, and the knots were in the 12s, and I'm one of the knots. So, but I also knew this car was going to be a handful, and that if you finished the race, you'd probably pick up some spots. So I had only 2 bobbles out there, and I caught them. So that's how I ended up here.
Oh man, yeah, sounds like a very, very eventful race on your part, and we are glad that you're able to come up here in the booth on the podium and speak to us up in the Dre Broadcasting booth. And yeah, last week you came from 9th place at Auto Club to 2nd place this week, and talking about how you don't have much experience on the road courses, you're still able to shine. And speaking of your lap times there, Mark, we noticed that your lap time seems to be getting nothing but faster the longer you went on a run. Basically, the older your tires, the faster your lap times became. What was the cause of that? I'm maybe sure you didn't even notice that.
I didn't notice it, and I'm not even sure why. I mean, I looked at a couple, I cheated and looked at a couple guys' laps who were fast when we were practicing, and I really didn't see a big difference in what they were doing from what I was doing. Some small pinches in apexes and stuff, and I may have been trying to apply some of that, but I was riding at about 90% just because I didn't want to wreck the car. I mean, on a road course like this, if you put yourself in the pits, you're on your you're on your heels for the rest of the race. So I just kind of kept it conservative and, you know, got here.
Oh, absolutely. And very, very nice. Very, very nicely said. And man, it was an amazing race on your part once again. And Mark, give us a rundown of the last couple of laps when you noticed that Keaton was catching you lap after lap, but you were still able to. Basically, it was a rubber band effect between the two of you. He would catch you, you would gain time against him. He would catch you, you would increase the gap. You just kept going back and forth.
Yeah, Keaton is definitely faster than me overall. And I saw him coming, and I think we have enough different lines. I saw him once. I think he thought I was brake checking him because I stopped so much faster than he does, and I saw him get squirrely, and I mean, it wasn't any intention on that at all. So he said he didn't catch me because he was flinging the car around and it lost his tires. But you know, it's definitely, I was just gonna hold my line and keep it conservative, like I said. And then if he passed me, he passed me. But I held on.
Absolutely, you definitely made him work for it, and you were able to benefit and come out in the second place spot, not too far ahead of Keaton, but an amazing job on your part, despite you trying to just pretty much get used to the track, get used to the machine all race long, and pretty much learn the track as you were going, like you had talked about. Well, Mark, any final thoughts or shout-outs you'd like to give before we let you go?
Yeah, I just want to thank you guys for the broadcasts. I love watching them back, man. It's really fun to do, and you know, kudos to you guys for thinking up enough stuff to talk about while you're on a long race like this. So, I mean, I probably won't be talking to you guys for the rest of the season. So, I just want to say thanks, and thanks to everybody who watches this stuff.
Oh, don't worry, Mark. You will speak to us here before too long. Keep your head high, your foot down the floor. We look forward to seeing you have your first win next week at Phoenix International. Have a good night, buddy. Go celebrate.
Yeah, thanks.
And that was second place driver Mark Kochik. And next in line is the alien from Sebring and the alien from tonight, the 88 of Keaton Bommersbach. Get up there, Keaton.
Yeah, I do.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Just a little unlucky again, but happy to be back here.
Oh man, yeah, very sorry to hear about your misfortune. I should admit, Keaton, you've had the exact same starts. You know, you had the same starts at Sebring, where you had some bad luck early on, had to go down pit road very early on. You went down pit road at Sebring on lap 1, and tonight you went down pit road on lap 2. And both races you still finished on the podium. Tell us about your experience running down or running back up to the field.
Yeah, well, I guess that is a testament to my speed. You know, Sebring, I made a mistake. I threw it in the tires, and today it was Jeremy's turn. As the other two were talking about, the top 4 were all kind of underneath a blanket. You know, we were gonna have a good race, I think, and we all just kind of ended up having our own issues. But Jeremy, he just made a slight mistake, hooked the car out of 2, and I clipped him, and the car became really volatile after that. He actually hit me in turn 1, or I hit him. I don't know exactly how it went, and that caused a little damage that actually slowed my pit stop up to about 20 seconds. So I fell way back, and it was the same story as Sebring. I mean, it was qualifying laps every lap. You know, just trying my hardest to get a whiff of Mark, and that last stint, I just put my head down, and I was gotta be honest, I was fortunate just to be there. Yeah, he's he mentioned kind of the brake testing stuff. I didn't see it in it as any of that, and I knew he was taking his line, and I just didn't react properly, and so I didn't get a chance to take a shot on him. One more lap, maybe. I don't know. It's hard to pass at Barber, so I mean, I was happy to come up through the field as it was, being as hard as it is to pass at Barber. So overall, you know, pleased after the displeasure at the start.
Absolutely, man. It was still an amazing race on your part. And Keaton, like I talked about at Sebring, it's very commendable. You seeing the bigger picture, despite having some bad luck early on. You know, it might not look good for you from your point of view for the rest of the race, but you still end up finishing in the podium. You finished in the podium both instances, despite having bad luck early on. And how do you feel the this stuff early on affects your pit strategy? Because it seems as though you're forced to have a different pit window compared to everybody else, both tonight and Sebring.
Yeah. I mean, both times I topped up on the fuel and didn't take the tires this time. I probably should have taken the tires this time. I didn't need to last time, so I got those two mixed up. But I took the fuel, and it allowed me to be light on the end. I only needed like 5 gallons as opposed to a full tank, which was about 3 times that. So that's you might have noticed I did a lap that was faster than my qualifying lap. It was I think the only 10. I did a couple 10s in a row. They were the only 10s of the night. I think from anybody after the race started, and that was just because I had light fuel and fresh tires. So I think that's part of what allowed me to catch up to Mark. It was the fuel kind of evening out, but yeah, just kind of off strategy. Unfortunately, I wasn't off strategy enough to where I could be fighting at the end, but that's quite alright. It put me off enough to where I could have fresh tires at the end, which that's always fun. It feels like well, it is a video game, but it feels like a video game within a video game.
Oh, absolutely, and nicely said. And well, we are glad that despite your strategies being messed up here and there, you're still able to adapt and adjust them accordingly and be very, very successful. And it was an amazing battle watching you be all over Mark Kochik, and you are doing more sideways driving than straight driving. Haven't seen so much sideways action from an IndyCar. These are not the type of machines to be seen that much sideways like you were doing here tonight, but you're still able to hang on to it for dear life and put it back where it was supposed to be and head the right direction. Well, congrats once again on your success here tonight, Keaton. We look forward to seeing you again back at Phoenix next week. Not next season, but next week. Any final words before we let you go?
Oh, I'm just I'm grateful to be back with these guys. I missed Auto Club last week because I had a procedure that was planned before the season started. So all good, back on my feet, running well. I just want to thank Jeff and all he does for the league, and thank my teammate Tim Silman, as well as I want to thank you guys. Sean, you do a really good job with this stuff. I think you found your calling, man.
Thank you very much, Keaton. I do appreciate that. And also congrats to you on your success tonight and so far this season. And we are glad that despite missing last week, you are now back for the rest of the season here with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. Well, Keaton, go celebrate, buddy. You earned it. And look forward to seeing you again on the podium, well, 2 spots higher next week at Phoenix International. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
And that was the 88 of Keaton Bombers back, rounding up the top 3. Robert Barras, Mark Kochik, and Keaton Bombers back. We had Jeremy Horn 4th, Charles Smith 5th, Jim Whaley Jr. 6th, Stephen Leffler 7th, Kyle Nadu 8th, Paul Cohen 9th, and that did round up the whole entire field here tonight. And tonight we were missing Jeff Dodson, so we look forward to seeing him back next week. Also missing Mark McFadden, not here tonight. Art Peck, not here tonight. Ronald Vincent, not here tonight. Including Rick Mason and Noah Lewis. But we look forward to seeing all these drivers back next week at Phoenix International Raceway, the oval course. So once again, if you guys would like to be a part of the action, go to Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. Check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing, or American Trucker8.wixsite.com/RTRL. And for you guys to be a part of the action, they do have once again a Pro Mazda series, including an IndyCar series. So Pro Mazdas on Tuesday nights, and Saturday nights is the IndyCars, like you see right before you. Well, thank you for joining us for the F1 Games PlayStation YouTube Grand Prix. A lot of drivers had some bad luck early on tonight, which did end their race. We'll look forward to seeing these drivers back once again next week, round 4, the Phoenix 125 at Phoenix International Raceway. The next broadcast is tomorrow night, season finale of the Precision Racing League American iRacing Sunday Series at Homestead, Miami. Well, I am Sean Zulu, and David Everly behind the cameras and being my co-commentator, And Dave, any final thoughts before we close up?
No, Sean, you pretty summed it up. It was a great race. I'm new to the road racing type with the open wheel, but I'm having a blast doing it. Can't wait for next week.
Absolutely. And a big shout out to the Roaring Thunder Racing League, Jeff Dotson. I want to thank him for having the Dre Broadcasting aboard the action train here with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. And this is a challenge we gladly accepted. And we are very, very glad, and we will never regret this at all. And once again, thank you, Jeff Dotson and the Roaring Thunder Racing League and all the drivers for making Roaring Thunder what it is. I am Sean Zulu, and David Everly behind the cameras. Once again, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dre Broadcasting Network. If you are new, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get notified every single time we go live, because we are live 5 nights a week. So you guys are fed or entertained 5 nights a week. Different machines, different cars, different tracks, different drivers. Everything's different, except for the excitement. It stays nothing but high and gets higher and higher with every single race. Well, thank you once again for tuning in tonight. See you again next race.
We think it's because Chevrolets are the most dependable tracks built to last a long time. With durability and ruggedness. I like the extra power, pulling power, nasty power, and quality. Seems they make them strong.